A lot of people are now focused on Canada, 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 Canada. But this country also has its own route that's similar to Canada and possibly even better. Dave, thank you very much for joining me. Wherever you're watching me all around the world, this is your one and only Waka Doctor. Always bring you the best gist with respect to moving abroad. You know how we do it on this channel. We talk about opportunities that exist everywhere in the world, whether you're moving through the academic route, which is, of course, the most common route, or whether you're moving through your career, job opportunities, or even if it is marriage or permanent residency route, this is where you want to be. I like to always put this information out there that I'm not an immigration consultant. I am not licensed to share this. Every information I share on my platform is a consequence of research and my experience. You would agree that having traveled to more than 60 countries and I've lived and worked in 5 of them, you would say that I possibly have that tiny bit of experience to be able to share with you guys. And I'm always happy to do this. I like to also say that I am not on Telegram. I am not on WhatsApp. So if you read comments here saying, send a message to this WhatsApp number, send a message to this Telegram number, please and please, it is not me. Let me also share with you guys, I've got a book, a very big book that I've recently just published, and it talks about all things travel. It's Migration Made Easy, and it's titled You Must Move Abroad by Fire by Force. It's just a small book to help you do it on your own. You don't need to pay anybody huge amounts of money. If you need to buy this book, please go through the comments, the description box of this video, and you will find the link to get the book. Today, like every other time, I am bringing you something new, something fresh. And you know, a lot of people talk about this country as if it is, people say this country is like out of like it's out of space. Like you're talking about Pluto or you're talking about Mercury or Jupiter. And people don't want to go there because it's very far. They say there are too many snakes, there are too many scorpions, there are too many big pythons. I'm here to tell you that is where the opportunity is. That is where the money is. And all these things you hear, they are lies. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. And what is much more interesting is a lot of people are now focused on Canada, 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 Canada. But this country also has its own route that's similar to Canada and possibly even better. And that's why I brought a guest to come and share everything about this process so that you can do it all on your own. She's a fantastic woman, and I can't wait for you to meet her. Here's my guest. I'll let her to do allow her to do the introductions. How are you? Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much, Waka Doctor. Hi, everyone. My name is Uche, and I live in Australia. And I did all the process all by myself as well. And I'm a YouTuber, and my YouTube name is Niger Mom in Australia, as you can see down there. And in my YouTube, I talk about tips on how you can move to Australia, how you can live and strive in Australia.
Fantastic. Thank you very, very much. There you go. How long have you been in Australia now?
Going to 6 years now.
6 years. Wow, 6 years in Australia. So you're the guru based on your experience now. Tell us about, I mean, a lot of people have, often done this Canadian Express entry, and I'm well aware that Australia has its own version, and that's why we're here today. We're going to talk about 3 visa types that people can apply for. You're the experienced person there, so I'm just going to watch. I have my pen. I'm going to write down stuff. I have my book. I'm going to write down stuff. So we're listening to you. Tell us about these visas, how to get them, process entailed, everything that's involved. So over to you.
Okay, thank you. So Australia has these 3 most common pathway. We call it General Skilled Migration Pathway, and we have it in numbers. Don't mind Australia with number thing. So one is called 189, and it's like Canada Federal, but we call it Independent Visa 189. This allows you to live anywhere in Australia if you meet the requirement. And we also have the one we call 190, which is like Canada P&P, and it is also a permanent resident, and you can live in the state that nominates you for 2 years before you can move any other place. And we have another one we call 491. It's like a pathway to permanent resident, and you have to live in a region for 5 years. It's like a live and work in Australia, and you live in the region that nominates you for 3 years, meet the requirements. What is the requirement? You have to work in any occupation, make up to 75 hours a fortnight, have up to 55,000 Australian dollars as your annual income. Then you can apply for your permanent residence after 3 years. So one thing about this general skilled immigration pathway is that it's a point test. So what it means is you must score at least 65 points for you to be eligible to apply for this visa. And it has to do with your age, your experience, your school, all those kind of things, and English is required as well. Although some occupation might just tell you that you need just competency, so it depends on the kind of occupation you're going for. So for federal, which is the 189, it's an independent visa and it has its own occupation list. So for you to be able to apply for that, your occupation has to be on the list. For 190 as well, your occupation has to also be on the list of the shortage list in Australia. And for 491, the same thing. But the good thing about these 3 visas is the same process, the same amount, the same everything. So let's assume that you want to come in as a customer service manager. The first thing you need to do is to check, okay, your age. You have to be minimum of 45. If you're 45 years, you can't apply for any of those 3. You have to be like 43 going to 44 or 44, hoping that by the time you get your nomination, you're not 45 yet, you understand? So if you meet your point, and okay, my age is 30 or my age is 38, I will get so point. My English test is competency, you will not have any points for that. My occupation, I have experience for 5 years, you get a point for that as well. So all that makes up this 65 points. So if you're sure you have that, and as a customer service, you have assessing bodies that can assess. So we don't do WES. Like I've gotten a lot of people asking, can I use WES to do Australia? No, you can't, because some occupations, there are assessing bodies for Australia, like nurses. If you want to come in as a nurse, we have APRA. If you're an engineer, we have Engineering Australia. If you're a tradie, like you're a chef, a baker, a carpenter, and all that kind of thing, handyman kind of thing, trades, the assessing body in Australia is called Trade Recognition Australia. If you're like a social worker, they have their own as well. Let's say you are a youth worker, you're a community service person, family intervention, those kind of healthcare kind of thing, they also have theirs. They call it ACWA, ACWA. Then general others like customer service, insurance, marketing specialist, HR, then VitalSess is your to-go assessing body. So that's where you can find that. So if you would do, okay, I've calculated my point right now. Next thing I will do is to go to homeaffairs.com.au. That is the Australian website.
Is it .com or .gov? Which one?
.gov, sorry. .gov.au. Then you will see the occupation list of different subclasses of visa that we have in Australia. When you click on it, you would see where your occupation is. So if you can find your occupation in 190 subclass, which is also a permanent resident, then you read up, and in that same place, you will see your assessing body. You will see all the visas that are available for that, your occupation. So you can just click on it. It will take you to your assessing body. You check out all the requirements they need. I assessed with VitaSess, so I can talk about VitaSess very well. So for anyone that want to go through the occupation list and their occupation is in VitaSess, all you need to do is gather your offer letter, get your pay slip. You don't need to get all the pay slip monthly for the whole year you're going to claim as experience. You just need like maybe 3 per year. And you also need a reference letter. You mustn't go through the HR for your reference. Anybody working with you, your supervisor, your manager can be your referee. And what they need to do is to put out, okay, you started job this time, you're earning these are your job functions and all that. Then you assess your document. Once you have done that, the next stage is for you to apply for your expression of interest, which I know Canada has as well. If you have a positive assessment, all right? So once you apply that, you can apply for more than one state in Australia if your occupation is in like 5 states in Australia and territory. It doesn't matter. You can do 5 expression of interest. It's not like some places you will do only one, then wait for them. You can do more than one. So whoever nominates you, then you go from there. So that's basically about the general skilled immigration pathway. Your occupation has to be on the list of what Australia is looking for right now, and you must meet the 65 point, which is the point test, and be sure if your occupation needs competency in English to have that. It mustn't be IELTS. We do TOEFL, we do person test of English. In short, a lot of people do more of person test of English because they believe that
it's easier
to get. And I also believe in that notion as well, to get a proficiency in Pearson test of English faster than IELTS. But hey, who am I to? Anyone that you're comfortable with, you can do that. So yeah, 189, it's good. Yeah. So.
Okay, let's talk about the financial part of it, because I heard you say during the introduction that the requirements are the same, the finance is the same. What's the monetary part of it? How much is involved as a single person or as a married person? And if you're coming with kids as well?
Depending on what you want to do, for your assessment, you must pay. The last time I did with VitaSess, I know it's still 1,000 something. I cannot give you the complete figure right now, but each assessing body has the amount you're supposed to pay to assess your document. So the first thing for expression of interest is free of charge. It's just the assessment, and the English is where you would pay. You understand? So if you're coming and you're writing English, of course, we know how much Pearson test of English, I think is less than 100, as well as IELTS, you pay for that. Then you assess your document. So for VitaSess, you would be keeping like 1,000 something for it. And also for people like, let's say, I know my age, I'm going to be 45 soon. VitaSess has this fast tracking, but you pay additional fee for that, and you get your assessment within 10 working days for VitaSess. Yeah, I don't know about other assessing bodies because I didn't assess with them, but you would pay for your assessment. That's the first payment. Then when you apply for your expression of interest, you're not going to pay, like I said. You have to go to Skill Select. Is another website in our Home Affairs where you can do that. Then let's assume you're coming with 189, which is the federal. Then you're not paying for any other thing apart from the visa. But if you're coming with 190 or 491, depending on the state, some of the states might ask you to pay like application fee. They are way less than $400. It's not even up to $300 for that. To that state, you have to pay that. And also some states would ask you for proof of fund, but not all. I know Queensland would ask for proof of fund and some valuations of whatever you have at home to make up. Tasmania will, and Northern Territory as well will, but every other state might not ask you for proof of fund. So once you have done that part as well, for visa, it is 4,002 something, 4,002 or 4,005.
As proof of funds?
Yeah, no, as per visa fee.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, as per visa fee. When I came to Australia, we were in Canada, we were in Queensland before we moved to Melbourne, to Victoria. So during our time, it was you must have up to 15,000 Australian dollars as a family of 5 for proof of fund in Queensland, and so monetary, like your valuation of properties and all that. And during that time was like 3.5 million. I don't know how much it would be right now, or if they have increased it, but just know if you're coming to Queensland, you must show something. And it doesn't matter how many months is going to be in your account. They didn't ask for that. Just show your account balance. That's the only thing they need, and the valuation. That's all.
Okay.
So for the visa, if it's 4,005 or 4,002 something, I can't give you exact number, but it's 4,000 something. That is for main applicants. So if you're coming with your partner pays half of that amount, and your kids. So if you go to Home Affairs as well, you can actually calculate how much it will cost you as per the family size. There's a
There's a
place where you can
calculator.
calculate. Yes, where you can calculate how much the visa would be for your family. But just know that if you're the main applicant, you're paying the full 4,000 you get, and your spouse will pay half, your kids will pay quarter. So that's what you need to do. So, hey,
Fantastic.
depend.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. This is just outside the box. Would
Yeah.
you advise people to come to Australia or go to Canada?
Well, I would advise people every time to come to anytime, any day to come to Australia. One, we have a very good atmosphere here. And of course, you know that we are one of the countries that pay the highest minimum wage, and we don't
Yeah.
do a standard minimum wage. So what you earn as in the morning is different from what you earn in the afternoon, and it depends on, and different from what you earn at night
At
as
night.
well.
Yeah.
And we earn extra during weekends, and that's why most of us Sundays we want to work and go to church in the evening, because the money for Sunday, hey, yeah. So and the well-being here, the work-life balance, it's very top notch. That's why they said Australia is laid back. We don't stress ourselves. We're not into those too show yourself kind of thing. We are silent money
Very
makers. You
silent
understand?
money makers. You
Very
people. Hey!
silent. Yeah. So if you find yourself in Australia, I can tell you, you're not going to look for a job except if you're a lazy person, because there's every opportunity here. Whether it's skilled work, you would find in Australia, you would find something to do. I know a friend that came in January, and she's already working as an admin a week after she arrived. So
Wow.
it's all
Wow.
left for you to, yeah. So whatever you
Fantastic.
need, it's there for you. There is no discrimination, because I heard a lot of people saying racism and all that. It's everywhere. I haven't witnessed any. They are down to earth. They don't like show off. They don't like you coming to show that you know it all. And as an African person, you also want to relearn some things when you're moving here. But hey, I love
Australia.
it here. The only thing is, yes, it's far. And this idea of snake, scorpion, and everything, I've never seen any snake since I arrived in Australia. I know they are in outbacks. That's the regional, when you live closer to the bush and all that. And once in a while, you might see it, somebody killed it, or kangaroo somewhere, but not that they are living in your house, like the notion, the myth, people say that, oh,
Yeah.
snakes, scorpions, and all that. Yeah. So I
Fantastic.
wanted
Well,
to Okay, sorry. I wanted to
that's
add,
been, yeah, you can go ahead, add a few things.
okay, I wanted to add something about these 3 pathways that I have mentioned. For the 189, you get your 65 by yourself. You're not going to have anybody like your spouse writing exam to add for you to get the 65 point. But for 190, if you're going through a state sponsorship, the state will give you additional 5 points. So let's assume you have 60 points, you've times everything, and you're on 60 points. And you remember you need a 65 point to be eligible. The state you're going to doing your expression of interest would add that 5 points for you to get that 65 point. So for 491, the region you're heading to will give you additional 15 points, right? So if you know you're like 40 and you're struggling with your age, I will advise, even though it's not permanent resident, but one thing is that you're not in your country, you understand? And it allows you to do everything you want to do if you come with this visa. You can also come with this 491. You get additional 15 points to be added there to make your 65 point. And they also had Medicare to this 491 too for people that have kids coming over. You are entitled to Australian Medicare scheme called, that's what they call it, Medicare. That's like a health insurance that covers people that have permanent residency. You without permanent residence would also enjoy that as well. So if you want to do this and you know you cannot get that 65, why not also check out the 491 and don't limit yourself to 189, which is the federal, 190, which is like the PNP, and the 491. Okay. So that's what I want to add to.
Thank you very much. Guys, you want to check out our YouTube channel. It's Ninja Mom in Australia. Ninja Mom in Australia, where she packages loads and loads of information about moving to Australia. That's what our channel is all about. So you want to take a look, make sure you get all your information there, please. You can also add comments on our videos. She will respond to you as soon as she can. She does respond to people. So that's been how you can move to Australia. And I want you to know that's another pathway for you if you decide to move. So it doesn't have to be just Canada alone. Thank you very much for watching. This is your one and only Waka Waka Doctor. Till I see you again, another video, another episode talking about migration. Have a great day. Ciao.